An ex-employee is alleging that she was fired for requesting time off to recover from a hernia and is seeking damages. According to the document, when asked why she was fired by the client said it was because they were going in a different direction and because this person apparently had an issue with the nanny. If there's anything of importance I've missed, please reply it here. Also, a general reminder to people that lawsuits being filed do not mean 100% that the defendant is guilty. Also, I'd like more context of when/where this was found, as these things can sometimes be faked. So if anyone has the source, please provide as well. It looks like Ethan responded via an Instagram story where he's got someone tweeted out Ethan and Ela Klein are named defendants in a lawsuit. Their housekeeper needed to take time off for surgery and they fired them. And then he responded to that with, our former housekeeper was fired for being horrifically rude to our boy's nanny, constantly calling her fat and asking when she gained all the weight. I gave her so many warnings hoping she would just stop, but she didn't. She was part of our family and we treated her as such. I tried everything to salvage the relationship, but her conduct was inexcusable. This is all documented with HR, which hopefully makes this an easy matter for us to settle. It feels extremely violating to know that someone that close to our family can turn around and do something like this. The part about her asking for time off for her surgery and then being fired is 100% fabricated. Anyone that knows us or has worked for us knows that is not something that we would ever do. I care deeply for all our employees and do everything in my power to do right by them. She tried to shake us down for a huge amount of money, which I immediately declined, knowing our innocence and refusing to ever concede to people like her. So Ethan and Ela Klein, H3H3 Productions, apparently seem to be in a little bit of extra hot water right now. They got a lawsuit filed against them. And because lawsuits are public record, same as any arrest or police report, those things are all public record. Anytime those things are public record, people are gonna look them up, especially when you're a public figure. So that's what we've done, is we've looked up. Someone else looked it up for us, but we're gonna look at this courtesy of the YouTube drama subreddit here. Let's get this pulled up. All right. So we got here Ethan and Ela subreddit post showing their court documentation here. It looks like they are being sued by one Elizabeth Borda, who I believe is the name of their housekeeper. Let's see. She is suing Teddy Fresh, courtesy of Ela Klein and Ethan Klein as individuals. One inclusive. Let's see if we can read this. Have a look at this here. Can I zoom in on this? No, it doesn't zoom. How do I zoom in? Okay, well, I guess we can't zoom in. I'll just read it out to you. On information and belief, at all relevant times, defendant Teddy Fresh was a Californian company doing business in California. On information and belief, Teddy Fresh Inc. blah, blah, blah. Each of whom times was an officer, so it lists Ela Klein and Ethan Klein as officers of the company. The unity of interest between defendants of each of them, and each acts as the alter ego of the other, and failure to recognize the alter ego relationship would lead to an equitable result. On information and belief, the Kleins and Teddy Fresh are and were engaged in one or more of the following: commingling funds and other assets, failed to segregate the funds of the separate entities, engaged in the unauthorized divisions of corporate funds or assets to other corporate uses, treated assets of the corporation as though they were individual assets, such as by paying personal debts with corporate funds and utilizing corporate funds to purchase assets for individual shareholders with no discernible belief to the other shareholders, failed to obtain proper authority to issue all stock granted to certain shareholders, allowed one or more individual to the state that she/he will be personally liable for the debts of the corporation, failed to follow corporate technicalities such as maintaining proper records, holding regular board and shareholder meetings, and properly electing officers to craft and administer corporate policy. Shared owners, directors, and officers with other related or closely held entities, shared office space or business locations with other or closely held entities, employed the same attorney for more than one related or closely held entity, failed to adequately capitalize a corporation, including potentially failing to have equity corporate assets and or undercapitalization of one or more, blah, 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 blah. Diverted assets. So basically they're saying that they misused corporate funds here. Contacted the third parties with the intent to avoid performance by use of corporate entities. Okay, so what exactly are we alleging? It looks like corporate fraud, complaint for damages designated herein as Doe was in some manner responsible for the occurrences and injuries alleged herein. Plaintiff is informed and it's hard to read this because I can't zoom it in. Plaintiff is informed and believes and based thereon alleges. Why do they talk like this in these? Why can't you just like talk like normal people? That at all times relevant herein, each defendant was acting as an agent, joint venture, or as an intergranted enterprise and or alter ego for each of the other defendants, and each was a co-conspirator with respect to the acts and wrongful conducts that are alleged herein, so that each is responsible for the acts of the other, with conspiracy and in approximate connections with the defendant. God, it's just the same like line over and over again. Plaintiff is herein and believes and based on therein. Like, oh, Jesus, I hate the way this stuff is typed out. I want to punch this lawyer in the face for this use of language. Okay, defendant, each of them. Also, yeah, like this is word salad. Just get to the point. All right, defendants, and each of them. Okay, just say each defendant. Like, why do we have to type it this way? Knowingly and willingly conspired to do the acts and things herein alleged pursuant to and in furtherance of the conspiracy. So what's the conspiracy? The conspiracy to conceal corporate funds? Like, what are we actually alleging here? Okay, here it is. On June 18th, 2024, plaintiff learned that she would need surgery for a hernia. The next day, June 19th, 2024, she notified Mrs. Klein that she would be needing time off for surgery on July 19th. Additionally, she told Mrs. Klein that the doctor expected her to need a month to recover, but that if she felt better sooner, she could return to work. On June 20th, 2024, Plaintiff placed a call to Karen in Teddy Fresh's Human Resources Department as she was having a problem with her time card login. She notified Karen by voicemail that she would be going to surgery on the 19th. That she would be going out for surgery on the 19th. And that her doctor expected she would need a month to recuperate. Shortly thereafter, on June 20th, only 2 days after she notified her employer that she needed time off for surgery, they called the plaintiff to notify her that her employment was being terminated and that she did not need to return to the house. Days later, they attempted to have plaintiff sign a release, which plaintiff declined to sign. The plaintiff pressed for a reason for her termination. They responded that her employer was going in a different direction, that's in quotes, and referenced a problem she had with the Klein's nanny. The reason was pretextual. Defendants terminated plaintiff because she requested time off for her hernia. Plaintiff has exhausted her administrative remedies by filing a charge with and receiving a right to sue letter from the Civil Rights Department in California. plaintiff hereby realleges and incorporates by reference as though fully set forth herein and alleges contains in paragraphs 1 through 12. Okay, yeah, so they're just going to relitigate all that. So basically, this housekeeper is suing Ethan Klein because she believes that she was fired because she asked for time off after having surgery for a hernia. They reference something with the nanny. Apparently there was a prior incident. I don't know what all that stuff at the beginning was with them misappropriating funds. Maybe they're claiming that because they're using Teddy Fresh funds for home expenses like nanny, housekeeper, etc., that's misappropriation of company funds. I don't know the legality behind all of that, because I was under the impression that Teddy Fresh was a home business. So if their home is also acting as a headquarters for the business, then a housekeeper would technically be like a janitor, and a nanny would be like, like in daycare for employee kids. Ethan and Klein being, owners and employee kids. So I'm not sure any of that is really relevant to what she's doing. It looks like she's just trying to tack stuff on because she's suing. Basically, the rub of it is that she's suing because she believes she was fired for asking for time off for a hernia, which somebody has written out a TLDR here. An ex-employee is alleging that she was fired for requesting time off to recover from a hernia and is seeking damages. According to the document, when asked why she was fired by the clients, the client said it was because they were going in a different direction and because this person apparently had an issue with the nanny. If there's anything of importance of miss, please reply it here. Also, a general reminder to people that lawsuits being filed do not mean 100% that the defendant is guilty. Also, I'd like more context of when/where this was found, as these things can sometimes be faked. So if anyone has the source, please provide as well. Okay, in edit 2, it looks like it is real because Ethan has responded on Instagram, and we've got a... Okay, trying to zoom in is just making it smaller. So, okay, that's weird. I hate how this works. All right, it's about as zoomed in as I can get it. So it looks like Ethan responded via an Instagram story where he's got... Someone tweeted out, Ethan and Ela Klein are named defendants in a lawsuit. Their housekeeper needed to take time off for surgery, and they fired them. And then he responded to that with, our former housekeeper was fired for being horrifically rude to our boy's nanny, constantly calling her fat and asking when she gained all the weight. I gave her so many warnings, hoping she would just stop, but she didn't. She was part of our family, and we treated her as such. I tried everything to salvage the relationship, but her conduct was inexcusable. This is all documented with HR, which hopefully makes this an easy matter for us to settle. It feels extremely violating to know that someone that close to our family can turn around and do something like this. The part about her asking for time off for her surgery and then being fired is 100% fabricated. Anyone that knows us or has worked for us knows that is not something that we would ever do. I care deeply for all our employees and do everything in my power to do right by them. She tried to shake us down for a huge amount of money, which I immediately declined, knowing our innocence and refusing to ever concede to people like her. Okay, so his side of the story, which of course will be taken with a grain of salt. Let me zoom this back in. So his side of the story is that she had an issue with the nanny, and she was just basically just kind of a bitch, just rude to the nanny, calling her fat, and looks like she didn't like the nanny, I'm guessing. He gave her multiple warnings to stop, and she didn't listen. And then her wanting time off, it was probably bad timing for them to terminate her because she wanted time off, but it looks like that was just them going... A lot of jobs do that, and it's a bad look when you do it. If you're going to terminate somebody, just terminate them. But usually what they'll do is they'll wait until, wait until you've asked for time off or until you've left so that they can go, okay, well, you're already gone. So now we're going to look for a replacement. And now that we have a replacement, we're going with this new person. So it looks like they were just using that as the kind of the excuse, but not the reason. If he has got things filed with HR and there's documents of this happening in the past, The only question I think he's really going to have to answer is why now? Why fire her now instead of earlier? So that looks like the only question he's really going to have to answer. It also sounds like she may have asked for money instead of going straight for the lawsuit, and he refused the money. So if she did like immediately ask for some kind of severance or some kind of settlement, then that looks bad on her part. I personally don't think this is going to go anywhere. I don't think she's going to win this, especially if she's got a history with the nanny and the nanny's willing to testify that. Then I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I'm inclined to believe the Kleins that it may be kind of a shakedown for money. The mistake they made was like waiting until she was out of the house to fire her instead of confronting her. It sounds like more of a passive aggressive thing to go through HR to do it instead of just like calling her into the office after multiple offenses and just calling her into a meeting and being like, look, you got to go. So it sounds like they were trying to avoid firing her, and the game being played there, you'll see a lot of employers do it where instead of firing you, they'll kind of hope that you'll just quit. So you wait for time off and they kind of replace you, and then they kind of come back, but then they go, well, we don't need you every day when you come back. So sounds like the mistake being made was just the timing of the firing. You fired her while she was on leave or when she asked for the leave. Wait, there's another edit here. Ethan Klein on Instagram has also said that when you employ a lot of people, lawsuits are inevitable, which is true, especially when you're a rich YouTuber and you employ a small number of people. There are going to be some people who just try to just look for something. I mean, you see it with the fucking Mr. Beast thing. Every ex-employee of him has had some kind of problem with him. Like, this is going to happen. And once you become like a millionaire YouTuber, you're not like a business with a team of lawyers, and people know that, and they think they can take advantage of you. So he's not wrong there, which to be honest is true to some extent. Yes, it is. To clarify, I still think that's a hell of a weird point to bring up when you personally are being sued. No, it's not that weird. This is the YouTube drama subreddit, so these people are just in hate Ethan Klein mode. But no, it's not a weird point to bring up. They've been through a number of lawsuits. This is basically just them saying, look, this happens all the time. So it's not, like, don't take it at face value. Wait. He's basically just saying, don't take it at face value. This is pretty much a nothing burger. Especially about someone who's your housekeeper and shouldn't fall under your company to begin with. So that's weird. Well, again, if Teddy Fresh is like, you can register your home as the headquarters of your business. So his home could also serve as Teddy Fresh's corporate office. It's a home business. I mean, technically my stream is registered as a business so that I can file taxes with Twitch, and my home is its location. So that's not completely uncommon. TLDR of the complaint. A former housekeeper of Teddy Fresh is suing Ethan Klein, blah, 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 in the company. Key allegations. 1, retaliation for medical leave. She informed her employer she needed surgery for a hernia, and 2 days later she was fired. It sounds like they may have just had a meeting after that where they were like, do we want to give her this time off or just let her go? Because we've had these problems with her. It sounds like they were debating on letting her go for a while, and then she asked for time off, and they were thinking, well, if she's not going to be here anyway, then I don't want to pay her for medical leave. We'll just let her go, which is a bad look. You should have fired her before then. So that's like the one shot against them, I think. Discrimination. Claims violations of the Family Rights Act and the Fair Employment and Housing Act due to disability discrimination. All right, well, you weren't disabled. Again, needing to have surgery for a hernia doesn't make you legally disabled. So I'm not sure that applies. You weren't disabled during the time of employment. Getting surgery for a hernia shouldn't leave you disabled either. A month of recovery and then you should be back to normal. That's not a disability. So I'm not sure that's going to go anywhere. Labor law violations. She's alleging, okay, I didn't read the whole thing, alleging for failure to provide breaks, unpaid wages, overtime, and missing wage statements. Okay, well, if they got the paperwork to back all that up, like if they got the receipts to show that they got all that, I don't know how California labor law works, but I know in my state, breaks aren't required by labor law. Just a 30-minute lunch is, and that's only if you work 8 hours or more. So breaks are something that are like considered a privilege, not a right, but it could be different in California, so that I don't know. Overtime violations, unpaid wages. Unpaid wages would probably be the big one, but if they've got documents to show that these are all the times we paid her, these are all hours she worked. They can easily disprove that with documentation. Corporate misconduct accuses the clients of using corporate funds improperly, mismanaging Teddy Fresh, and avoiding financial liabilities, which if they've got a good record keeper, they've got a good bookkeeper, they can easily prove where all their money went. So good paper trail will fix that one. So like as long as they bring receipts and he's acting like this is not going to be hard for them to win. This should be a pretty open and shut case. So he seems confident that he's got the receipts to disprove all this stuff. Pretextual firing claims the given reason for termination, company going in a different direction, was false and that she was really fired due to requesting medical leave. I mean, if they can prove that they had a reason to go in a different direction, which your past conduct run in with another staff member, and if they can get that other staff member, if they can get the nanny to testify that she was uncomfortable with her in the house and she talked to the clients, then they've got something to back up their different direction thing. That maybe the housekeeper waited until you filed for leave so that she could feel comfortable talking to the clients about letting you go, and basically just venting about how uncomfortable she was with you in the house. Maybe she didn't feel comfortable venting that while she's still working with you because she didn't want to risk there being like more tension between the two of you in case the clients didn't fire you. Maybe that was it. So there's a number of ways to explain the timing. I don't think this is going to go very far. What she wants: damages for lost wages, emotional distress and penalties, and a jury trial. The lawsuit, she wants a jury trial because she knows the judge probably won't agree with her. A lot of this is emotions based, and she wants to play off of that, which is why you want a jury trial, because a jury will, immediately start, you can tug on the heartstrings and play the victim card, and a judge is going to just look at the legal aspect of it, which means she probably doesn't have a strong legal case. So she needs the jury to, give them the bare minimum of stuff needed to tug on the heartstrings and play off their emotions. That would be my guess there. The lawsuit accuses the clients of retaliating against an employee for seeking medical leave and violating the labor laws. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. So that's Ethan Klein's latest drama. A lawsuit that it does feel like she may have been trying to shake them down. I can't trust any rich person that claims to treat their employees like family. Nah, the rich parents at least paid well. Oh, they're like the rich parents in Parasite. Yeah. So these people are just they just have the eat the rich mentality. So basically, they're evil because they're rich. Remember, Ethan Klein is someone who casually spends thousands for memeing, but can't pay his housekeeper. Allegedly. Yeah, like if he's got documents to show that he paid her. They're capitalists. Every capitalist would pay below the minimum wage. Yeah, okay. So his comments are all just brain rot. What is this? There's a post on Twitter about it. She suffered a hernia at work after being their housekeeper for some kind. Oh, now the lawsuit that we just read didn't claim she suffered that while at work. That would be a workers' comp claim. That would be a different thing. When they found out she needed surgery and would have to take time off to recover, they axed her 2 days later without notice. That's illegal in California, and they are cooked. I didn't see any of this in that lawsuit that we just read. Post below shows a video of them mocking their nanny. There's more information about the lawsuit in the following post, but she wasn't the nanny, she was the housekeeper. What's this Twitter post?
But I don't know why. Then there was like fires in LA when we got home. Mm-hmm. We had like a babysitter who was with Theodore, and she had to leave abruptly because she thought her family was burning alive at 1:30, and I'm like so tired. I just got out of the shower. I'm about to go to bed. She goes, excuse me, Mr. Klein.
She doesn't have an accent. What are you doing?
It's a fictitious story. Excuse me, Mr. Klein.
She sounds normal.
It's a fictitious story.
Excuse me, sir.
She goes, excuse me, Mr. Klein.
What?
Oh, my family.
What is this?
In the fire zone, and nobody answer. And my whole family, I die, and I drive home, okay?
Yes.
But.
Okay. He also said it's a fictitious story there, so that doesn't tell me anything. According to the cover of the lawsuit, it was filed in court. For those not familiar with Easton, I'll post a clip of his greatest hits below. I'm not watching a 7-minute clip of y'all just hating on him, taking him out of context. After 4 years of working with him, she suffered a hernia. Within 2 days of notifying the clients that her injury would need surgery, she would need time off to recover, she received a call that she had been fired. Everything in this lawsuit is accurate. This is both highly illegal and very unethical. A family worth tens, if not hundreds, it's tens of millions, they aren't worth hundreds, throwing hired help to the... You can Google their net worth, man. It's all public record. Hired to help the curb when there are no issue. Kick to the curb. I think you meant kick to the curb when there are no... Not sure if the nanny and the housekeeper are the same person. Maybe you should know that before you start doing this. They're two different people. They're two different people. He said that in his own post. It says it in the lawsuit. There's an issue he had with the nanny. We're going in a different... And referenced a problem she had with the nanny. Like, the document you're linking clearly shows that they're two different people. So clearly, he's talking about the nanny in this clip, but it was the housekeeper that got fired. So none of this is relevant. These fucking people are vultures, man. Jesus, that clip is really gross. Not just knocking their nanny for being worried about her family, but also doing a weird, vaguely racist accent for some reason. He also said it's a fictitious story. He's making it up. He's just doing a bit. Sounds like he's just doing a bit. It's a bit that didn't land. I'll give you that. Okay. All right. I'm done reading the comments on the YouTube drama subreddit. There's people who are they're just there to watch Ethan Klein fall. The bottom line for this is they're being sued by just to recap, they're being sued by the housekeeper because she got fired after asking for medical leave. They had problems, according to the clients, they had problems with the housekeeper and the nanny, and her being rude to the nanny for a long time. It sounds like after she asked for that leave and she left, sounds like she asked for time off without telling them what it was first, and then called them later to say, I'm going to need a month to recover. And then 2 days after that is when they fired her. So it sounds like they were probably on the fence about whether to keep her or not at that point. And then the nanny probably vented some frustrations with her now that she wasn't there because maybe she was scared of confrontation, whatever, that happens. It sounds like there's more behind the scenes stuff going on than meets the eye. I'm not one to pass judgment. I'm leaning in the direction of the Kleins just because of the wording in that, because of all the extra stuff that's tacked on and all the wording in it. I don't believe she got the hernia while on the job, or she would have been asking for workers' comp. There was no mention of workers' comp there, so I don't believe the hernia came from the job. All the misappropriation for funds and all the other accusations, it sounds like she's just trying to... That's all just background stuff to paint them as evil corporate people so that she can play to a jury and act like she was taken advantage of by these, rich one-percenters. He says they're shaking her up for money. Sounds that way. I could be completely wrong. If she comes to court with receipts to prove all of this stuff, and the Ethan Kleins are guilty of misappropriating funds, of not paying her, and of treating their employees bad, then yeah, by all means, make them pay out the nose for it. But from what I've read there, it doesn't sound like they had any documentation or anything. It's all just her alleging things and then suing for damages. And it's all going to come down to whether or not they can bring the paperwork to disprove her or not. She wants a jury trial because even if they disprove, then she can just probably cry on the stand and stuff and play to the emotion. That's my first thought anytime I see someone going for a jury trial, is they're just going to try to play off emotion, because jurors typically don't understand the law as well as a judge would, which is why you want the jury, in this case, in cases like this, to make the decision instead of a judge, because the judge is going to ignore your emotion. He's not going to care about that. He's just going to go, did you do this thing? Yes or no? Can you prove it? Yeah, and that's really what it should be. I'll be watching this, so we'll see how this lawsuit goes, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I don't think she's going to win. I've worked for enough places to know that people tend to exaggerate or misremember things when they've been fired because they're angry, and then they try to invent a reason for why they got fired. They'll leave stuff out. So a lot of times you'll get fired and the company will tell you what the reason is, and then those people who've been fired will go, no, that's bullshit. They're really firing me for this reason, with zero evidence to back any of that up. So it sounds like that's what this case is, but we'll see. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. Just a quick little update on the Klein stuff. I know everybody's talking about this on Content Nuke and the fallout from that, and maybe I'll cover some of those reactions. Maybe I won't. I'm kind of waiting for all the fallout to die down so I can do kind of a whole timeline and do all the reactions in one instead of posting 100 videos like everybody else. But I didn't see anybody talking about this lawsuit, so I thought I'd bring it up as it was filed 3 days ago. So it's a relatively new thing, and we'll see if this becomes a bigger deal or if it just kind of becomes a nothing burger. So thanks for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to sub, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's other things you want me to cover, or, you know, let me know how I'm doing. I'm kind of throwing things at the wall to see what sticks and just covering stuff that interests me. So my YouTube channel doesn't really have a theme to it yet. So let me know how I'm doing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.